Again. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to today's class. This is going to be the first class in stage 2 of this training. And in this stage, we're going to be talking about search engine optimization proper, from the basics of understanding SEO, SEO, a little bit more advanced conversations around search engine optimization, which is the full meaning of SEO. Of course, my name is Richard Okiasi. As you know, I've taken you one class and other people have done some others, and I'm back here again to take you on this round of SEO training. So for today, here are some of the things we're going to cover. Introduction, which we caught, we did briefly. Recap of past classes. We still remember that, so I would not really take much of our time in doing that, but I would do a little of that. Then what is covered in this class, and then objectives of this class. So recap of past classes, just to remind us, we've had the introduction of this, we've had introduction to content writing, which is an important bedrock, an important part of search engine optimization, because you have to understand that when we talk about search engine optimization, there is no search engine optimization without content. Like, content is the cornerstone of every search engine optimization attempt. Any attempt to optimize search engine has to be done with content. Without content, we can't do anything, or we can't achieve anything. So it was important for us to teach you guys about content, how to discover your niche. We talked about how to even write social media content. So all those were covered in the stage 1. So that's a brief of the recap of last classes. So what we're going to cover in this class, we're going to talk about some of the SEO ranking factors. You get what are the things that make SEO rank. We're also going to look at what SEO means, as the case may be. What is even this word SEO, and what does it mean? So then we're going to talk about some of the things that help content rank, and then build up the conversation from there. So the objective of this class is to ensure that at the end of this class, everybody understands what search engine optimization is, so that when you're hearing the word search engine optimization, it doesn't sound like a strange concept to you. You know what it is, you know what the ideas around it. And then when you go online and you make searches and see contents that pop up after you make your search, you can easily understand why those contents have been able to, why those contents were able to come up in your search engines, or your search engine reports pages. Hope my voice is audible enough. Please, if it's audible enough, just leave a comment. Is my voice audible enough? According to Obelo, 84% of Google searchers use Google at least 3 times daily, right? And Google receives a monthly visit of 89.3 billion searches per month. That's supposed to be searches per month. Then Google receives 8.5 billion searches daily. Now, these figures are not just here to jumble things. These figures are here to give you an idea of what the opportunities there are on the World Wide Web, right? So how would it make you feel if you're able to do a search, and out of the millions of searches that are done daily, your content can come up as part of the results pages, or the recommendations that people see, and people get to read your content and then get value from what you're doing. In the same vein, how would you feel if you have a business and people make searches and find your business page, you get, and read what is on your business page, or your business website, and find value in it? In another way, how would you feel if you are if you write content for a client and people make searches and that content appears and they're able to get value from the content you've written. Now, these figures are here to give you an idea of how much information, how much information people are looking for. This is just Google search engine alone. Of course, we should know that there are other search engines like Bing, Yahoo, Bing, Yahoo, at least these are the top three, right? We have some others. So, but Google alone, you can see how many billion searches happen. Imagine what do you need for at least your content X number of people, let's say 100 or 1,000 or 3,000 people to read your content in a day or read a certain number of content from your website in a day. These are the opportunities available for you on the World Wide Web. So that is, this data is there to show you that the chances or the possibilities are there for you, and it's all there for you to grab. You can start writing. It could be from your social media platform, and you write content well targeted that can be seen from daily searches, right? And it will help you grow your relevance or your credibility in your industry as a professional. That said, let's understand how search engines work. Now, I've already explained what SEO means. SEO is short for search engine optimization. So what are search engines? Search engines are without using what's it called, dictionary, right? Search engines, as when we break it down, search engines. So search engines are like systems that help people aggregate search results, right? So search engines are aggregators. What it means is that search engines do not naturally hold any content. Do you get? They only aggregate the content. They aggregate it in the sense that there are different contents on different websites on the web, or different websites on the World Wide Web. What search engines does is that they go to each of these websites, crawl them, see the kind of contents that are there, and then aggregate them. What it means aggregate them is like they have like they save a file to say this on this website there is content about richest men in Nigeria. On this website, there's content about best female dresses for winter season. You get different websites and different search engines aggregate them. Now, all these search engines have their different ways of aggregating this content on different websites, so that when people make searches, it will be easy for them to recommend those pages that they have saved. Remember, I told you that search engines do not naturally save, they do not naturally have any of this content. They only aggregate what is in or what is available on other people's website. So how do they now determine which of the pages? For instance, we could have 10 websites that have richest men in a content on top 5 richest men in Nigeria. So how do they now decide which of the contents they will bring first, or which of the content they will put as the first, the second, the third, the fourth? You get, so they now have what we call ranking metrics, right? And this is just me laying the foundation here. So they have ranking metrics, and that ranking metrics, there are a couple of things that they use to gauge that. One of the things they use to gauge is how many other sites are linking to that particular content, right? So what it means that if you have a page on the World Wide Web, if somebody else has copied the link to that your page and put in one of their contents, or have shared it on their social media platforms, the search engines count that, right? The search engines count that as a plus to your website or as a plus to your content. Now, also, they want to look at your website. Is it spammy, right? Do you have some harmful content on it. When you have harmful content, they rank your website and your content lower. So another thing they could look at is to say, does your website load fast enough? You get. So these are just basic things you get for you to understand how these search engines work and how they operate. Now, another thing you have to now know is when they have decided this, it doesn't mean that after they've aggregated all the sites and said, okay, Deborah's site will be number one, Melody's site will be number two, Lois's site will be number three. They can still, after a period of time, review those contents, like crawl those content again to check if the relevance of the information on those pages still meets. Now, after a period of time, when they still crawl those sites again, they might find out that, oh, based on the new information, a source's content, which was probably not in the top three before, now has better rich information that people are finding helpful, as opposed to before that it was Deborah's content. The ranking positions will not change again. Now, this is how search engine optimization, search engines work now. Now, having understood search engine optimization now is the process of you as a creator, right? The process that you as a creator utilize content, optimize your content, write it in a way, arrange it in a way, structure it in a way. Please take note of the words I'm using: write, optimize, structure it in a way that the search engines will favor your content and rank them higher, right? It's also a way of you understanding what people are looking for and creating content that will suit that need, because you can only optimize something you have an answer to. You can't optimize something you don't have an answer to, right? It's when you have an answer to something that you can now profile the answer and try to make the answer better. Let's say, for instance, somebody is trying to learn how to cook banga soup and starch. I don't know how to cook banga soup and starch. Maybe Deborah doesn't know. Maybe Lois doesn't know. But probably Esosa might know how to cook banga soup and starch. I can't optimize a content on banga soup and starch because I don't even know what it is. But Esosa has the answer. She can probably write that. So search engine optimization is you creating the content first, then structuring it in a way that it will favor what the search engines are looking for. So it also means that aside knowing what to do, aside knowing what to write, or the what's it called, aside knowing the solution you're about to give, you also need to know how the search engines operate, so that you're not just writing and not getting the right visibility. I hope I'm making sense. Please, if I'm making sense, drop something in the comment section. Am I making sense? If I'm communicating, please let me know. Okay, so let me quickly show us something to further emphasize what I'm trying to say very quickly. So what am I going to say? So let's use the banga soup and starch award. Okay, no, let's not use banga soup and starch. Let's use something like what am I going to use now? How to avoid Lagos traffic. Sorry for that. On Monday. So let's say how to avoid Lagos traffic on Mondays. Now, we are also going to talk about this latest reality. As you can see here, there's an AI overview. What it means now is that some of these search engines have started using AI to give a quick overview of anything you search before you start looking at other people's sites. I think in another class, we're also going to talk about where all of this comes into play, right? So, but we're going to ignore them for now and come down here. So now, how to avoid traffic in Lagos? So if you notice, this was written by Eden Life. I really do not know them, but what I'm trying to say is that you can see these people wrote about it, how not to die in Lagos traffic. These people wrote, but in a way, this content title is also not related to what I'm actually looking for. So it also means that there is something we call a content gap in this content. So here is what are some Lagos traffic hacks. It's a bit similar, but nobody has addressed my particular interest. And my particular interest here is not only how to avoid Lagos traffic, particularly on Monday. I hope you guys are taking note. My emphasis is on a Monday. I want to know how I can avoid Lagos traffic on a Monday. This one says 5 guaranteed ways to beat Lagos traffic every day. This one says Lagos traffic, how to survive and deal with it. So as you can see, nobody still has treated this my query. Maybe the reason is because there are not a lot of people who are making this particular search, right? Why, how to avoid? So because people want to write what people are searching for or what people would read, right? Let's say we're just few that have asked this question. That's why you see nobody has written on it. But the more a lot of people start asking about it, the more it will start popping up on Google Signal. And content writers like myself and like yourself might pick it up and write a content on it. So far, there's still content gap in terms of this key phrase, how to avoid Lagos traffic. So this is how some of the thought process around content work. You get, sometimes you can come, you see here how to avoid Lagos traffic on Mondays, essay. So let's say, for instance, it could be a school. If you have the thought process, you can understand maybe secondary school students were given an essay, you get, and then they try checking on Google if they could see something they could read. That could be something that prompted you see people also search how to avoid Lagos traffic on Monday in Nigeria. So this looks close. So let's see if this has it. So again, the AIs are prompts have gone into action. But the truth is that now this is AI. AI cannot give you the answer to this the way a real person who is facing the reality would give it to you if we're being realistic. So, but more about AI conversations later. So here again, you can just see that this content has still has content gap. So this is how these search engines work. We could try other search engines, but we do not have that liberty of time. We will still look into other areas coming. Now, what are the old ranking factors? Before those content we saw when I made that search, what are the things that enabled them to rank? Or what are the criteria they were able to meet for them to rank? Now we have the old factors that used to help contents to rank. Some of them are outdated now, some of them are still in vogue, right? But we need to know what used to be so that we can properly understand what is now. So one of the things that used to help content rank then was the word length. You get, then at some point, for your content to rank properly or get a lot of traffic, your content needed to be long. You get, so you needed to write up to at least 1,000 words in your content for it to be getting the traffic it requires. But nowadays, the conversation has changed. The conversation is not only just about word length anymore, but some things have changed, and we will talk about it in another slide. So meta description. Meta description is also one of the things that used to help content rank. So just so that, okay, I'll keep that there and I'll still come back to it. Meta description, backlinks, page loading speed, keyword stuffing. So I'm going to explain all of these together. I know some of you who went through the material I shared would have gotten this, but I'm just going to shed light on it a bit. Now I'm going to open this. For instance, I'm going to open this quickly. So meta description is this thing you see here. So anytime you make a search and you see a quick description of what that content is about, that's the meta description. It's the same thing as this. So one of the things that used to help content rank in the past, and this one is still in vogue, is the meta description. How relevant is your meta description to the particular search phrase that was made? So remember that this is the search phrase, how to avoid Lagos traffic on Mondays. If your meta description has the keywords, which is a combination of Lagos traffic and Mondays, you get, it means it's relevant. So you can see that this meta description being relevant to the search is part of the reasons that made this content rank. I hope I'm communicating. So that's for meta description. So for backlinks, do I have my mouse on? I hope my mouse is on for this. All right, so I'm just going to close this. My mouse. Okay, let me try turning on my mouse again. Please hold on. I need to turn on a plugin that would enable me show you guys something. I might just have to log in. Sorry, just a minute. Let me try logging in. Okay, so because I have a lot I wish to cover, let me not waste too much time. So backlinks, for instance, this is a backlink. This is what we call a backlink. So some of the terms we use in SEO, if you look at the root words, you can easily understand what they mean. So remember, back, link, a link, a link that leads back to something, right? So for instance, in a content like this, you can see this traveling is a backlink to another page. I can open that and you see that is an Instagram page, for instance. Yeah. So, and that Instagram page is referencing the word traveling. Imagine if you wrote a content on 5 ways to beat Lagos traffic and people used this your content or found this content helpful and posted it on their social media platforms. Oh, or LinkedIn or something. Oh, I found the content that is helpful about how to beat Lagos traffic. You can read the full content here. So these search engines, like I said, crawl also those social platforms because they're also websites and take those things as signals. If somebody else also shares it on their website as a relevant link that they attach to a content, it is also going to add to your ranking factor, right? It's going to increase the ranking factor of your content. I really do not know why my mouse is taking too long. If I had known, I would have logged in. It skipped my mind. So that's also how backlinks work. Page loading speed. So for instance, this might not be Moses' problem, but how some of you can recall that most times when you go to a website and you try opening it and it's taking too long to load, you just leave the site. So the search engines do not want to recommend websites that would not fare well with their users. So they are not trying to recommend their users to your site, and you're dulling them. So the users are not happy you get with their service. So they would rather not recommend your site than recommend a site that does not load fast. This also still holds till today. Keyword stuffing, this one doesn't hold anymore. So, but in the past, people used to do something, or SEOs, including myself, used to do it, but then we learned differently. If you're writing a content about traveling, you find out that almost every paragraph you have, you add the word traveling, you just stuff that word traveling in almost every part of the content. So it used to help the algorithm so that, okay, this content is talking about traveling, or traveling to Lagos, traffic in Lagos, traffic in Lagos. But now the algorithms are wiser. They don't need all those your stuffing. It's just the same way hashtags used to be. You get, when you write content, you put hashtag, um, content writing and all of that. So now those before, it used to help the algorithms know what content is about, but now the algorithms are a bit more intelligent. They don't need your hashtags anymore. So when they are seeing hashtags in your content, they are looking at your content like those old contents. So they probably would not even treat your content right. But it's quite different from the ones, maybe you're using a hashtag for a particular trend. That's different. So for instance, the one you're doing hashtag faster content writing challenge is quite different. So the one I'm talking of, if most of you who used to write content on social media in the past, you remember that time where we used to write content and you have to put hashtag you get on certain areas in your content. Now that is also old school. So it's also similar to this keyword stuffing, copying competitors. Now in the past, this also used to work. You copy what other people are doing and just replicate it. It doesn't work anymore. Keyword difficulty. Then in the past, people used to focus a lot on how difficult is this keyword, or how easy is it to rank for. Now, if not that my mouse is giving an issue, we're having a class tomorrow. So, but by tomorrow, my mouse will be okay. And we would also talk more about keyword difficulty, because tomorrow we're going to be talking about how to search for SEO content topics, which is a very important part of SEO, right? SEO, which a lot of people do not pay attention to. A lot of people know how to write the content, but a lot of people do not know how to research the content topics. So website authority, this also still works. Keyword on content title, this also still works. Remember what I told you, that, for instance, this content, 5 guarantees ways to beat Lagos everyday traffic. So you see, the focus keywords for this content is Lagos traffic and Mondays. And if you can see this topic, for instance, you can see Lagos traffic is here, Lagos traffic is here, Lagos traffic is here. So this also still holds. The keyword of your content has to be in the title, right? So always do that. Sorry, I'm not done with this. Title of image in content. So the images in your content. Oh my God. Sorry, I have to change my device. Please, I would discontinue this call and join back with my system. I hope you guys heard me.
Yes, sir, we did. We heard you.
We hear you, sir.
Okay. All right. Am I good to go here? Can you hear me from here?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So my one of my device was overheating. I think I'm overloading it. So where did I stop? Keyword or content. I've talked about title. So let me show. For instance, I have an image. Okay, I think the best example I would have even used is take you guys to Fast Tires content and show you. Let me take you to Fast Tires content so that we just use our resources and make the whole stuff breeze. The only downside to this class is Moz not working, but aside that, I think we would still. So for instance, you have an image on your content like this. Now, the title of this image should always be relevant to the title of the content, right? This content is talking about qualities in a company that are most important. The title is talking about what makes a company a great place. Now, if you have an image like this, when you're saving it, when you're saving the image, always save the image with a title that is relevant to this. Sometimes you can even name it image traits that make a company a great place, right? Are you with me? Are you guys with me?
Sir,
Yes,
please
sir.
come again, please. Don't be angry.
If you
Please
are,
come again, sir.
if you have an image in a content like this, I was showing, if you have an image in a content like this, the title of the image should always be relevant to the title of the content. So for instance, if you have an image like this in your content, you can title this image "How to Job Hunt in Nigeria, Image 1." So that when people do a search on Google, for instance, let's say how to job hunt in Nigeria, and they put image, just for instance, let's just see, and then they are searching from the image section, the likelihood that your content could be found from that process would also be improved, right? Because once that image is indexed, as you can see, these are images related to that particular search phrase now. Now, from this area, you can also be found. Also, when the algorithms are crawling your page, it's also easy for them to know, like from the image title, what the content is also about, aside the title of your content. Does that make sense? Does that make sense now?
Yes,
Okay,
thank you. It does.
okay. All right. So that's title of imaging content, spread of focus keyword. I think I've already touched on that. How long people spend on your page. This one is even more important today. And your ability to be able to even do this one is part of the things that will make you a great SEO or not. And teaching you this one for free again is another freebie I'm just doing, because it's part of the things that, what will I say? When they say that if you go to a technician and give him an issue you've been having for 2 weeks and he solves it in 30 minutes, it took him 2 years or 10 years to learn that thing he has done. So it's similar thing to what happens. How can you make people spend time on your page, on your website? You get is a trade secret. Like you have to know it. It's not um, somebody who knows it has to teach you. Yes, you can figure it out on your own, but there are things. So also how long people spend on your page when they come to your page has a way of helping the algorithms rank your page better. Then off-page SEO, that one includes some technical stuff like how your website was set up, other stuff like the things you do outside of your content, like how well you have a spread of your structure, your website structure, how you structured it, how you structured your content into different categories and all of that. So we're also going to touch that a bit going forward. So, but here are some of the new ranking factors, the things that make content rank. When you go on search engine and you type where parfait um, parfait, what's the word I'm looking for now? Parfait brands, let's say parfait brands in Lagos. When you go online and you do this search, how did these pages that are here, how did they come up, right? If you want to put, if you have a business and you want your business, if people go online, people make this search, you want your business to come up here, how are you going to do it so that your business can come up among these search results? So because of course, from these search results, a lot of people can book your services or can book for your parfait just by making this search. Do you understand? So somebody can even say best parfait brand in Lagos because they want to get the best parfait you get. So how can you tap into searches like this to get people to come to you? You get best CV writers, for instance, in Port Harcourt. So how can you tap in this for us? So how can you tap into searches like this, get people to hire you for your service? You get, this is for fast hire, as you can see, we're the ones ranking first for this search. So how can you get people to make searches like this and then they can reach out to you? So you can see that I'm not just saying what I can't do or what we don't know how to do. So this is actually fast hire. So yeah, it's our fast hire. It's not on it's not that fast hire, it's actually our own fast hire. So how can you tap into stuff like that, right? That's what we're going to be talking about next. So as you can see, it's the same site I was using to show you guys instance, just the network being slow, right? So I'm wondering why the network is so slow. So, but you get the gist. The gist is whatever business it is, whether it's yours, for a friend, for a client, you get how can you tap into searches like this to help your businesses come up, to help your businesses gain deals. How many orders can you get in a day if your business is well positioned with content like this? Can you imagine how many orders you could get in a day? Have you thought of it? Have you thought of it? So how many can that be? So that said, here are the new ranking factors: topical authority, page responsiveness, page interaction/engagement, site architecture. Topical authority, when we talk about topical authority, how well have your page built relevance in relation to a particular area of conversation, right? In other words, if you remember that when we're talking about trade fair in Nigeria, there's somebody that has overtaken that conversation. Yes, before her, there were other trade fairs, but she has found a way to attach anything, any thought of trade fair you think about her. And I'm talking about Niger Brand Chick, right? So she started as social media, you get IG, social media influencer, or how do they call it, and built it, started trade fairs, and her trade fairs are talk of the town. So, for instance, that word trade fair, once you type trade fair, Nigerian trade fair on Google, there is something always leading to her. You get, there's always something that will lead to her. So something you would not check too long, and you see something about Niger Brand Chicks Trade Fair. You understand, as you can see. So you don't. That's also how it is for some other conversations. Network is not being my best friend. Nice. Okay, so that's what topical authority. That's what topical authority means. How well you've been able to build authority in an area, how well you've been able to build trust within an area. Uh, is also, for instance, if you are a content writer, how well have people come to recognize you and content writing? So if people think of content writing, do they think of you? If yes, then you have built topical authority in people's mind in that area. As you can build topical authority in people's mind or perception about you, that's the same way you can build topical authority in relation to the search engines. Search engines can know your site or the site you're writing for in terms of a topic or in terms of a topic area or a conversation area. Let's say, for instance, if you're talking about business, richest men, stuff like that, you always think about Forbes. So once you type richest men in or richest women in, you can't scroll past 10 pages online without seeing one recommendation or one page from Forbes website. Now they have built topical authority in that area. So I think I have buttressed the point of topical authority. The next question will not be, how can you build topical authority? We'll go into that later. Next one is page responsiveness. I think I've explained that a bit. How well, if somebody clicks your page, how fast does that page load? You get how well does it load? The page interaction / engagement is similar to what I was talking about the last time. When people come to your site, how well do they interact with your page? Gone are the days where search engines look at your website as just a place where people come, read content, and go. How well are they interacting? Do they stay? Do they click to other pages? Do they leave comments? If your comment section of your website is on, do they leave comments? Do they copy? Do they click on something? Are there things they download from your site? All of those things are to read. So for instance, when you come to FastIR site and you see something like this and you click on it, you've interacted with the page. If our chatbots are asking you questions, you interact with our chatbots, you've made an interaction, it's going to be counted in it. If you download our image, you find the image helpful, you want to share it with a friend and you downloaded it, whether you made a screenshot, you've interacted with our page. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So that's page interaction. Site architecture. How well is your site? I don't know why you guys are not responding to me. It's not giving me good vibes. I don't know what is happening. Am I in the class alone?
We are here, sir, and you're not alone.
if I'm talking now, you guys should respond to me. So I'm not just talking and talking. If it feels hollow that I'm just talking, I'm answering myself. Okay, that said, so I was talking about, so that's why it's also important that at different points in time you add screenshots, you add images, things that would ensure that you or help your content remain interactive, that will help your content remain. Then site architecture is another thing that helps your content. How well, so for instance, this is part of the site architecture of these sites. You get how well are your stuffs arranged. Oh, sorry, not supposed to go there. So let me go back. So I was trying to show you. For instance, these are our services. You get different, you can, it's well arranged. You go to different areas with different this thing. So here for ebooks, you get when you go to the ebook session, how well are they arranged? This for blog, when you come to the blog session, how well are they arranged? You can see the top content, you can see different categories. When you go here, you read only content related to business. If you go here, you read only content related to branding. This is part of the site architecture. This helps, these are part of the things that that helps your content or your page or your website rank better in the new SEO ranking factors. So that said, what is content length? I mentioned briefly, but it's also important to drum it home that in the current SEO techniques, content is not just about long form content. So it's not just about short form content also. So don't write a long form content for a content that needs short answers, and don't write short form content for a content that needs expression, that need more explanation. So for instance, when you're talking about money related conversation, you need a lot of communication, you need a lot of explanation. So you don't go and make short form answers in such content. Then there are contents that are just straight to the point. You don't go writing 1,000 words. This kind of content, 300 words, 500 words, just give them the answer and you move on. The algorithms would rate your site better than when you're trying to write 1,005 word content. Remember, attention span this generation has dropped, so you want to keep things as simple as possible. There's a popular saying that um, the content should be as short enough as a sketch for people to imagine what is inside and long enough to cover what is inside. Well, that might come off a bit, but it's marketing, and I didn't make the rules. Those are the those are the conversations we hear in marketing. Short enough to make people think of what is inside, and long enough to conceal what is inside. Whatever that means, I don't know. So topical authority, I've also talked about it a bit. So these are the ranking factors that you really need to pay attention to, and that's why I'm touching on them. Content length, so also for content length, I'll add that you need to use the YouTube approach. Now, remember, YouTube has the long form content and the short form content. So whether you should write short form content or long form content all the time, it depends. You have to do a combination of both. You should also have short form content that leads to or links back to a longer form content. That way, you would get more traffic and at the same time keep your content relevant. So topical authority, how do you build topical authority? You build topical authority one topic at a time. So you don't try and then that is also where niching comes in. Let's say, for instance, most times, if you're going to write up for a client, the client already has what their website is about. So it's now important for you to now pick one area of what they are all about and start writing within that area. You could spend a good number of time discussing different conversation around it. The more the algorithms come and crawl your contents and see that they are within this specific area, they will start monitoring it and then aggregating your content to searches related to that. And the next thing you know, you have built topical authority in such an area. Also, another way to build topical authority is to get experts in those different fields that you want to build topical authority on to either write for your site and then make references, because if they write and then make references to the content they wrote on your site, maybe on their social channels, it also brings topical authority back to that content they wrote on your site and to your website at the end of the day. Another way to build topical authority would now also be by making polls. You get doing surveys, you get putting in some work, hard work, and then you can build some topical authority. You get, for instance, for us, recently we published a book, an ebook on interview preparation, right? Because one of our services is interview preparation. So we had to create that because we also want to show that we are knowledgeable about these things. We're not only telling you to come, let's coach you to ace your interview just for nothing. If you doubt us, you can take a look at our resources, right? So those are also ways of building topical authority. You could create checklists, you could create surveys and all of those things and embed them in your website or in your content, and you build topical authority around those areas. That said, what is site health? So site health is how well you're doing, how well your site is doing in relation to um, safeguarding the people who come or who visit your site. So site health is a combination of the safety of the people who visit your site, you get, and also the performance of your site. So how well your site performs talks about your site health. Does it load fast? If your site is loading slow, the site is not that healthy. So if it's loading slowly, what are the things making it load slow? Is it that the contents are too much and you need to increase the bandwidth size of your hosting plan? Or is it that there are spammy links that are making your site load slowly? Or the images on the page, are they too heavy? So if they are too heavy, you have to go back, check on them and reduce them so that it increases both the size of that page and the size of the website in total. So how do you increase your site health? Categorizing your content properly. So you have to categorize your content properly. And each content you're creating has to be put in just one category. Don't write one content and put them in 3 categories. All content on every site, to avoid what we call cannibalism. There's something we call cannibalism. So where the algorithms are reading your content in 2 different categories or as 2 different things, and then they are now competing for each other in a ranking system or in a ranking order. Like, let's say you have 2 content on your site, and if somebody does a search for how to become a millionaire, you have about 2 contents on your site targeting that same key phrase, you get, it can cause that. Sometimes that cannibalism or duplication of content might not even be because you wrote the content twice or you wrote 2 similar content. It might be because you put one content in 2 different categories and the algorithm kind of separated them thinking it's 2 different contents, something like that. So remove old or redundant content. There are contents that are no longer relevant. You get, clear them off from your site or from your client site, and it's going to help them. So these are some of the disavowing old and spammy links. You get, there are some old links you got from people who link back to your site, and those sites now either they are now down, they are not working anymore. Those people have closed their sites, or those sites you find out that they started also getting sites from some
spammy places, and their own site health is now poor. So it also affects your own site. So in order to avoid that, remove those spammy links and disavow them. So categorizing your URL, so it's also similar to categorizing your content, right? So instead of just letting all your content be on the same general category, try as much as you can to put your content in the right categories and their URLs as the case may be. Reviewing your backlinks. So from time to time, review the backlinks you give it to people from your site. Once you find out that those sites are not working anymore, please remove those old links and add fresh relevant sites that would be helpful to your own content. That said, warning, shortcuts don't work anymore. So don't try to copy people. Don't leave your job of writing to AI. So as you can see now, we've done some searches. You saw that there are things AI can do. So if you still leave your work to AI, AI does it. When we made some searches not too long, and we saw that AI, even Google, brought some AI recommended answer. So people will know an AI answer, and if they come to your site and they are reading AI content, when they would have simply read the AI content from Google or any of these other search engines or ChatGPT, why would they bother coming to your site? And the more people get accustomed to your site or the content you write that they are AI generated, the more they lose trust in you. A lot of people, even on social media, use AI content, and it's very easy to spot because there's no soul in quotes in it. For writers, you actually know when there's when there are contents that are supposed to be talking about experience and the person is just writing it shabbily, you know that he didn't dey in quotes. Please don't use that in an English exam, right? You just know when the person is just talking on surface level, and that's mostly sometimes what you just get, especially when you just go and the AI regurgitates just anything that's already existing. For instance, when I'm having this conversation with you, as I'm talking and there are places where it will require me to show you instances. I'll remove my slides, go and show you. You get, and there are places I will even have to show you, oh, I've done this before. I'm not just saying I would also show you. So it shows you that there's a soul in what is being done, as opposed to I'm just talking, yeah, you just be like, I been go read this thing somewhere, just the talk, right? So there's a difference in it. It's the same way it is in content writing. When your content is without a soul in quotes, you get people can easily know that this thing you get. So please don't leave your work. Stop going about with recycled content. So don't just go online. Maybe you're giving a content because the fact that every content, there's no content that you want to write that somebody has not written before. It doesn't mean that you just go copy somebody's content or just the stuff that are already online and then just come back and paste. You get, make yours unique, make yours different. This particular stage that I'm treating now, if you go and check what I treated for the last class, you will see that it's quite different, right? Some of you got the nudge to watch the other video, and you see that what is in this class, there are stuffs here already that you can't find in that class. And so those people who were in the other cohorts, if they come back here too, they will find out that there's something different. So that's what we say this is not recycled content. The knowledge is there, the information is there. So it's the same way I want you to approach your content writing process. At every time, even if you have to read from people's experience, gather from people's experience, there should be more, there should be something new. Old rules don't work anymore, please. Those old methods I told you do not work. Keyword stuffing, all those things are not necessary. Using hashtags and all that, not necessary. So I've talked about that's cannibalism. Sorry, this is not cannibalism. It's cannibalism. Avoid cannibalism. I've explained this. So focus on unique content and other things that help, that things that support your SEO or that support your content, email marketing, so social media ads, influencer collaboration, paid ads, branded postcards, community brand events. All these also collaborate with your SEO efforts to make your content or that of your clients better and perform better. So what is the future of people? What is the future of SEO? The future of SEO is people first content. Like I told you guys, so for instance, let's do a search here. What is a resume? Right. So watch, Google is giving us AI answer, even without us using any AI. So this is Gemini. This is Gemini now. This is Google's own AI. So Google's AI is giving you answer already. So if Google's AI is already giving you answer, why bother create content? Do you get? So it's not the question you're going to ask yourself, but we're going to treat that in the next class. So why is Google using their AI to do a summary of this? Because they are trying to give people a quick fix. Attention span has dropped. You get? One, people need things fast. Attention span has dropped. They don't have time for long search. So before, people would have to surf through different web pages to find out which one is the right. Now, Google's AI summarizes the same way the AI aggregates information from aggregates different websites. Now, the AI will just aggregate information from different answers, churn out a quick answer, and give to any search. But if the reason the AI or Google is also doing that is because they want to serve people as quickly as possible. So that is why people first content will always win in this era of things. What is unique about you? People know when there's something missing. If your site is known as a site that provides that thing, they would always come. So the future of SEO is also in branding. So it's not just enough to write content once and let people go anymore. Remember I said that the secret of blogging is to get eyeballs to your website and then monetize that eyeballs. Now, the secret of the future of SEO now also is not just people coming to your site and leaving. Find a way to get those people who come to your site to remain. Don't just let them go like that. Find a way to keep them and make them come back again. Even if it's creating checklist or something that they can download, something that they will find relevant and build trust with your site. And then from there, they can always trust your site when they see your content, or your site will just stick to their brain. So create that people first content that will keep them loyal to your site. So for instance, just like we have for Forbes or business, they are not the rest. Unique and edge, cutting edge, please. That is unique and cutting edge stuff. So there are a lot of information already existing, a lot of stuff that people have written, but people are looking for what is unique, what is new, what is cutting edge. Those are the things that will stand out in SEO, at least in the next 2, 3, 5 years. So thank you so much for your time. I'm ready to take your questions now. Thank you so much. Please, questions. Are there no questions?
Thank you, Mr. Richard.
All right, thank you. Please, if you have question, you can just raise your hand, okay? Who else has question?
Okay.
Hold on, Lois, before you start. Who else has question? Please, if you have question, just raise your hand.
Any other question? Okay, so we have only Lois for question. Okay, please, Lois, let's have a question. Okay, and Esusa. All right, please, let's have a question, Lois. Can you hear me, ma? You can go ahead with your question.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Is
Hello,
it
sir.
Esusa? Esusa. Who is speaking? Is it Esusa or Lois? Lois, please go ahead with your question.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, thank you very much for the class for today. It was really enlightening. Um, what I wanted to know is like when you're talking about for content writers writing, when you talked about there's a content gap, yes,
Yeah.
content gap where uh there are some content that has not been written yet, or there are no thorough information, like when you were talking about traffic in Lagos.
Yeah.
You understand? There's no enough information about such a thing written when you try to put in the keyword on the Google.
Yes.
And I was now thinking, I said, so it's another opportunity for content writers now. When you keep putting like such, doing a research now using certain keywords, it can be able to your SEO search engine can able to tell us those contents that have relevant information or that don't have enough relevant information for us to be able to build or write content about, right? Because talking about content, that's where I want you to throw more light in that area.
Okay.
Yes,
All
yes.
right.
Yes.
So I think I get what your question is driving at. So okay, I get what your question is driving at. Can you mute yourself? I'm getting a feedback from. Okay, great. So I get what our question is driving at, and one of the questions I also got in the last class, in the last course, somebody was asking that, can we write new content at this point? And I answered the person, I said yes. And I think that was when I made one short video. I don't know how many people have seen that video. I was like, the agri sector, for instance, has a lot of content gap. Like, and agri sector in Nigeria in particular has a lot of content gap. And the reason is because there are a lot of unwritten content in the agri sector because a lot of agri-based businesses are not yet online. So they have a lot of stuff they are not written. There are a lot of areas, a lot of things you think people have written, but there are a lot people have also not written. Let's say, for instance, I made a use of how to avoid Lagos traffic on Monday. Yes, there might be content on how to avoid Lagos traffic, but there might not be any content on how to avoid Lagos traffic on Monday, particularly. So that becomes a content gap. Now, how the algorithms can help you see content gaps. We have the algorithms will not show you. What will show you are SEO tools. So SEO tools are part of the things we're going to be discussing in the next class. SEO tools like Ahref, Moz, they could make suggestions for content areas or content gaps, as the case may be. So let me define content gap or explain content gap. Content gaps are areas of conversation around a broader conversation that has not been covered. Or content gap are conversations that have not been had in respect to a particular demographic. So that demographic can come in different ways. Do you understand? Another thing we can consider is, let's think about if we do a search for best, if we do a search for, let's say, best female attires
right? Best female attires can be a general content, but it's also possible that we could have a content gap in the area of best female attires for friends, for 3 friends. I'm just trying to tweak something to show you guys how content gaps can happen. So there, we could have friends, a group of 3 friends or 4 friends, and they want to do their twinning thing or they want to do their girly thing. The festives are around the corner, and they are trying to see a recommendation for dress code. Like they want to twin, so they are trying to, since they are 3 or 4, and I don't know if that's still twinning, but I know ladies do that twinning thing. No, no disrespect anyway. So they are just trying to look for a way to say, can we, what are the recommendations if we want to dress alike, the 4 of us? They might go online and do that search and not find anything. It means that there's a content gap in that place, right? But if they just do that singularly, that might not pop up in the search engines as what people also search for. But if a lot of people keep searching for similar conversation as that, the search engines, not the algorithm, now the search engines will pick that thing as a phrase and they will add that as part of people also search for or people also ask, you get. And then when that pops up, search content writers like myself and yourself will see it and create the content. So that's how the recommendations can come from, what's it called? The search engine part. If not, the tools are where you really go to find for content gap. So you can take 2 websites, see the content they have between them, and then use the SEO tools to find content gaps between those 2 websites. Now, those content gaps, you now being the 3rd website, can now write on those contents. So they are part of the trade secret on how to build topical authority for a site. So I hope I did justice to that question. Esusa, Lois, I hope I answered you. I hope I explained well
Yes,
enough.
sir.
Okay, thank you. So Esusa, you can take your
Thank you,
question.
sir.
Esusa,
Good evening, sir. Okay, thank you very much for the class.
your question.
Yes, sir. So you talked about how we use SEO tools to identify content gaps that we can fill when we're creating our own content. Can you recommend any SEO tool we can use? And also, do you know an SEO tool you can use to check for site authority for a particular keyword or search query? That's my question, sir.
Okay, so sorry, I lost you. I think I got a text message that disrupted your conversation. Just tell me again, please. Let me.
Okay. I said you mentioned how we use SEO tools to identify content gaps when we want
Yes.
to create our own content.
Hmm.
Yes. So I wanted to know if you could recommend any SEO tools which we could use. And if you know any SEO tool we can use for checking site authority.
Yes, sure. So for SEO tools, I think I already mentioned a couple of them. I said, what's it called? We have Ahrefs, we have Moz, which was the one I'm trying to use, but didn't work, but should be up next class. We have Moz, we have Ahrefs, we have Answer the Public, we have SEMrush, yes. So all of that, they come in handy. You get come in handy. So what's their name? I'm trying to remember. Uber Suggest also has that content gap recommendation option. So a couple of them. But the only thing is that for some of them now, you have to be on the paid plan to actually utilize that tool. Does that answer your question, Susan?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
As soon as possible. Next class, we're going to be talking about how to research SEO content topics. We would try to cover both the manual and the what's it called, the using paid tools. So try to be in class tomorrow. Tomorrow class also might be a bit longer because of the technicality of what will be taught, but it will be good for you to build your foundation by going through that video I have sent first. I'll see you all in the next class. Thank you so much and do have a lovely evening. Aside today's class, do we have any question aside from today's class? Aside from what was taught in today's class, any question? No question. Okay. All right. So please, the group is also open for your conversations. Let's have the conversations rolling. Because if I see no need to leave the group on after the training, I will just close it. So, and how I will know if it's helpful or not is the quality of conversations that go on or do not go on. If the group is just quiet, I just know, okay, you are just there for the training, and once the training is done, I'll delete the group so that everybody to attend. So, but if that group has to be on, I have to be sure that it's adding value to you guys. So whatever content, SEO related conversations, let's be having it, or let's start having them so that the group is of value to everyone. That's it. Thank you so much and good night, everybody.